Welcome, Reds, to the 100% United pod. I'm your host, TC. Back alongside me today is your co-host, Scott. How you doing, pal?
Pretty good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. It was a pretty chilled out affair tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was I think it was good to get some of those lads, a bit of a run out. But I think it was a good, a good chance for some of the other lads to get a good opportunity for a first team spot.
Are you playing with your squeaky toy again, mate?
Oh, my dogs are fighting over it.
No problems, pal. All good. Listen, on today's pod, we will look back on that match at Old Trafford, the Champions League match. Young boys won, United won as well. As you say, Scott, load of youngsters came on for United. The team was a skeleton team, to say the least. I mean, if you're thinking about resting a player or two for a dead rubber game, Rangnick took it to the extreme, didn't he? Didn't even stick anyone on the bench. And it was a good opportunity to see who will put their hands up, but it was also a good opportunity for people to leave their hands down, wasn't it? And I think possibly, although I feel pretty positive after tonight, there were more players who left their hands down than put them up.
Yeah, but I mean, you're right. That is the most youthful lineup anyone could have ever imagined. Probably even more so. It's you think back in the days when Fergie used to play youngsters in the Coca-Cola Cup, it was called back then. He'd always stick someone on the bench that could rescue it if it went arse up.
Yes.
But I think to show as much faith, everyone used to say how much Ollie was going to play youngsters and what have you, but there is no way in hell that he would have played that lineup today.
No, it's certainly not towards the end, right? I mean, I was thinking, I did say that there's no way he would have made that sub of Elanga. He might have in the honeymoon period. He might have when he was temporary, right? I mean, he did bring Greenwood on in Paris, but after being permanent, no chance. And yeah, look, this is what I like about Rangnick. There is no thought that enters his mind that he's going to be embarrassed tonight. He's not trying to feel his way in and just look, for Rangnick tonight, personally, a win would have been the best option, right? In terms of saying, look, I'm winning. For the club, what he did tonight was the best option. Leaving those boys at home. Ronaldo's got his feet up. Ronaldo's probably saying, play me. I want to score in 6 Champions League group games again. He was the only player to do it. And of course, yesterday, Haller did it as well, didn't he? So Ronaldo could have been the first person to do it twice instead. And Rangnick saying, no, go and put your feet up, mate. And you play at Norwich at the weekend instead.
Yeah, I completely agree. I like how committed he is to his cause, right?
Ideology, right?
His ideology is, absolutely. He's committed to it, and not sneaking. You could have snuck Bruno on the bench or had Fred on the bench or something, and brought him on if you needed a goal. But I honestly don't think he could have cared less if we won or lost tonight. But it was just a good chance for him to see everyone in the squad, and some of the young lads who came on, maybe they didn't bring as much quality as you wanted, but they sure as hell brought a lot of energy. And sometimes that's all you really want from a youngster.
And I mean, let's look at the starting lineup, Scott, because we were talking about people coming on, but the starting lineup.
TC, bloody hell! It took me 10 minutes to figure it out on the United Instagram.
Yeah, it's like a Rubik's Cube, isn't it?
Absolutely, you're absolute. That is a fantastic analogy. Yeah, couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, and then when you did work it out, you were left scratching your head thinking we've only got one centre back.
Yeah, is it 3-1-6? What's 3-2-5?
Literally.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But look, Dean Henderson started in goal as promised by Rangnick. Wan-Bissaka out to the right, Shaw out to the left. So the second choice fullbacks getting a run out, and Bailly and Matic, of course, skippering the side at the centre of defence. And then, I mean, let's get through the team, then we'll discuss it all. The midfield of Mata and Van der Beek was the anti-McFred, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. That was a first. I didn't think I'd see that.
An outrageous midfield. Let's not mess around here. That is an outrageous midfield from Rangnick. So fair play to the guy. He's got a fair pair on him. Ahmad took the right number 10 spot, as we're going to call it, and Lingard the left, and then Greenwood and Elanga up top. So in terms of a lineup, as well as we say, he hasn't put the ammo on the bench to rescue himself, but he trusts this system, doesn't he? And when you look at this system and you look at the players we've got, it starts making a bit more sense, doesn't it?
It does, but You think going into it, this is probably going to be some sort of hybrid of the 4-2-2-2 that he was playing on the weekend, but judging by where the players actually ended up, it was more of that 4-2-3-1. But yeah, everyone was sort of switching in and out of positions. It was a really big night for a few of these players to stake a claim and to show that they haven't deserved a place on the bench for the last few months. And as you said, a few took it and a few didn't.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, look, as you said, that the bench was packed with youngsters. So
Keepers.
not pardon me?
2 keepers. Packed with keepers. Yeah.
And he even brought one on. So there you go. If you're going to bring one on, then having 2 keepers does make a bit of sense, right? I'm loving Rangnick at the moment. Everything he does everything he touches turns to gold,
Well,
in my opinion. But yeah, of course, that the 2 keeper thing. Carrick did it as well, didn't he?
yeah, he did.
They're all on the wind up, mate. They're all on the bloody wind up. The lot of them. Look, the match kicked off. Not a jam-packed Old Trafford, but a big enough crowd to make it a nice European night, especially for the guys who came on later on, of course. And the first big chance did fall to United. It fell to Diallo as well. It was a ball over the top from Mata. Alanga and Diallo seemed to sort of collide with each other, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And it just dropped to Diallo. It was quite a nice chance, wasn't it? Really, when you think about the kind of player Diallo is, you thought he might just slip that away.
Yeah, he could have taken another touch and gone around that defender, but it was a good positive start. And if he was going to be playing a right winger, for him to be popping up at centre forward so quickly was a good sign.
Yes, and when we did, I mean, as we say, that midfield was pretty naughty, and we were getting overrun at times. Even in the times where we were dominating, you always knew it was a possibility. But Scott, we've discussed this before, haven't we? We've talked about this for months and years, actually, now, that we've got better players than the opposition. And if you just go toe-to-toe, then the result is not that bad. Like today, we had no ammo, didn't we? This was threadbare. Mata and Van der Beek in the middle. We drew 1-1. And don't forget, young boys needed to win that game tonight. Mm-hmm. They needed to win to keep their European dream alive and to potentially, with the Atalanta game being postponed because the snow's pouring down in Italy, they still had a chance. So they were full on it. And, we still got a draw out of it with those players. So it just goes to show, doesn't it, that when you do take risks, when you do trust the fact that we are better than most teams we play, then the end result is not that bad.
Yeah, but the one thing you can tell from we don't know Ralf Rangnick very well yet, but one thing you can definitely tell was that he didn't just pick those players and put them in the same formation and the same tactics as the last game. He picked those players and gave them instructions to play those positions the way he wanted to do it, and actually had a game plan and tactics specific to these. It's not just sticking round pegs in square holes. You're actually fitting exactly. Maybe not. Juan Mata's never been a great holding midfielder, but if you give him a set of instructions and they're simple enough to adhere to, then he's a good enough all round player that he can probably do it.
And to be fair, if you look at Mata's attributes these days, which is nice passing, and that's it, right? Yeah. Then I suppose that the deep line midfield is pretty much the best job for him. I mean, he's certainly not a winger. I mean, number 10, he can hardly move, can he? So just standing there and knocking the ball about, I mean, probably the best job we're going to get out of him. I mean, I remember telling you 2 years ago that we should have put him out to pasture. And I know it's the influence on the dressing room and all the rest of it. But he was pedestrian at his peak. And now he is, I mean, he's almost in rewind.
Yeah, I mean, when we got him, he was a fantastic number 10, and then, he turned into a pretty good right winger and came in to be a bit of an inside playmaker. But now I think his best position is probably in the MLS.
Well, we've got a tight link to the Red Bull clubs now, haven't we? So I don't know if they pay fees, but look, it was an interesting start to say the least, but then it got a lot more interesting just before the 10-minute mark. Luke Shaw, of course, back in the side. And the challenge has been laid down by Alex Tellez, and he whipped the ball in. It was behind Mason Greenwood. I must say, Scott, shades of Mark Hughes there. Behind him, the way he struck it, not a bicycle kick, but a half volley. That was Hughes' bread and butter. Superb finish from Mason Greenwood. Playing in one of those striker roles, you need to be banging in goals if you want to keep your position. Of course, he gives you the trimmings as well, which gives him an advantage over certain players. Got his goal, wonderful finish.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Shades of Mark Hughes. I wasn't going to go that far back, but it was shades of Berber for me. Remember, he scored that hat-trick he scored at home to Liverpool, the game you were famously at. I think one of his goals in that corner of the net was pretty similar to that, wasn't it? He came and he didn't he control. Oh no, it was I guess the bicycle kick.
So the Liverpool one, he kneed it up and bicycle kicked it crossbar and in.
Yeah,
right. He scored a similar one. Was it in the same game?
I think it was.
It might have been. You know what? You might be right, Scott.
He kneed it, and then it was a part behind him a little bit. But it was a great finish, and it just shows what Mason just needs half a yard and half a chance, and they'll grab us a goal.
Yeah, I mean he's slapped a couple of shots recently, which is something I haven't seen from Mason Greenwood much. In terms of I'm not talking about the goal. I'm talking about later in the game and in the previous games where you look at it and you think, who shot that? And you think Greenwood. What? No way. So
I heard you going in. I like the last one. He tried to hit it with last game when you thought it was Delo. He tried to hit it with the outside of his foot, and it was uncharacteristic of him, but. It just shows. I mean, the kid's 20 years old, and he's always.
And I expect him to hit the ball perfectly every time.
Yeah, he's already got those standards. It's pretty crazy. But I think
love him.
You think in 10 minutes in, he's grabbed a great goal here, playing centrally. That's a big first impression he's going to leave on Rangnick there. That's
a massive fillip, isn't it? And the way he took it as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, superb stuff. So 1-0 United. Mason Greenwood with the goal, and Luke Shaw with the assist. So superb. And then after that. Look, the whole game was disjointed, wasn't it? We were playing with a team that has no chemistry with each other. And there was big periods of the match where nothing really was going on. Bailly went walkies again, didn't he? And Henderson was out so quickly. His position was fantastic around the 20-minute mark. Henderson looked like he was trying to prove that he can play that more dynamic goalkeeper role that Rangnick is, of course. I mean, don't forget when Schalke played against us, back in the Champions League semi-final, Neuer was his goalkeeper and skipper, I think, as well. So he's had Neuer as his keeper as well. We know he doesn't like to favour the keeper being the fulcrum of the attack, of course, but he likes him to be able to play. And of course, the high line. Henderson looked like he was auditioning for the right part, if you know what I mean.
Do you think he is that keeper though? Do you think he's got it in him?
What? Well, more than De Gea.
Do you think so? All right.
Well, he's more of a sweeper keeper than De Gea, right? Of course he is. But it's just when you weigh it up, does that De Gea's a better shot stopper? I mean, even the goal today, De Gea might save that.
Yeah, but some of the distributions, I love the distribution from De Gea the other game because he was just none of this playing out the back rubbish. But I think today we reverted a bit back to that. Yeah. And when you do have a sweeper keeper, we're not very good at playing out from the back, especially some of our defenders. And I just don't want us to get caught in that trap where we play a sweeper keeper and all of a sudden we've got to play out from the back every time again.
Good point.
And I'm scared about that, TC.
No, absolutely good point. Absolutely. No, I totally accept that. And I agree. I have enjoyed the simplicity at times in the last couple of games when there's obvious look at times today we took risks, but the risks were with a means to an end, with a purpose. I could see how if the risk came off that it might lead to something positive for United. We've been taking risks in the last months and years that just lead nowhere. If the risk is successful, if we successfully overcome the situation, we just get it into midfield and the ball comes back to the centre-back anyway, so it doesn't even matter. So the risks we're taking now seem more positive. They seem like there is some purpose to them. And look, if Henderson's stepping up to the plate and he's thinking, look, this is my chance, new manager, and De Gea is too, all good for us, isn't it? Whoever wins that race, if they're a better keeper than when they started, then we're all winners.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, even Tom Heaton. Apart from the one that gets dropped. So
even Tom Heaton, though, 16 years took for him to make his debut, and fine, it's a bit of a tokenistic gesture, but I mean, he could have definitely gone the whole season without ever playing, and then he would never play for it was
It was interesting, wasn't it? The way Rangnick is basically gone the anti-Ollie, hasn't he? The way he's done things here. He's basically just given everyone who hasn't had a sniff.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, and look,
and got
he
a
did have the
clean sheet.
perfect opportunity, but Ollie's already had a League Cup game, and yeah, sure, we saw a few boys play, but it wasn't like this.
Absolutely not. I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. But yeah, it was for us a dead rubber, but for them it wasn't. There was a few tackles going in, wasn't there? I mean, Alanga, Diallo, and Greenwood were all down with what seemed to be like a pretty big smashes in quick succession.
Yeah, and not a single booking.
No, and then Wan-Bissaka joined in and crunched in from behind. I'm thinking we're already qualified. You see what happened last night for Man City. You see Walker's been red carded and suspended for the next round. You think, why are you doing it, mate? Come on, you've already potentially lost your place to Delo. So
I think he has.
Keep a lid on it.
That's one thing I have to say. Didn't agree with you, TC. I don't think he was out the team because he was injured. I think he was dropped after his potential, maybe for giving the penalty away at Chelsea. But I think Delo was put in that team, not because Wan-Bissaka was injured, but because Wan-Bissaka's been playing pretty poor. And tonight was a big night for him as well to stake a claim. And yeah, so some of the tackles he was put in was pretty rash, and some of the just the 10-yard passes I find he has trouble connecting with.
Yeah, I mean, was he on the bench though before? I don't think he wasn't, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah. So I mean, but I totally agree with you. Your main point. I mean, he was out of the team because he was injured, but I do agree with you that he has lost his place as well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean,
was he injured?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I didn't think he was injured.
Yeah, and that's why Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. But the thing is, Scott, is that for weeks, months now, I've been looking at the other fullbacks in the league and looking at the successful teams in the league and the successful teams around Europe, and he just doesn't fit the mold, does he? And I've said it before, I say it 1,000 times, if you're gonna be Mr. Defensive, that's your job, then you've got to be perfect defensively, right? Yeah. Like everything has got to be perfect. You can't be the guy giving away penalties. You can't be the guy giving the ball away in your own third. Everything defensively
playing everyone
got to be perfect.
Onside, yeah.
You can't. You can't. You just can't. So yeah, he has got to improve like yesterday, or he is going to be in massive trouble. Because what will happen is Rangnick will sign a new right back in January, and Delo and him will fight it out, and Wan-Bissaka will either leave or go in the summer if he doesn't change. Because tonight was not very good, to be fair.
But I think Delo has played great the last couple of games.
Yeah,
I really do. I think he
and doesn't it go to show, Scott, that when you take risks, the positives are so positive and the negatives are not that bad. We've been overrun with Wan-Bissaka playing right back, so who cares? We might as well. There's my microphone, dear me. We are gesticulating with my hands there. I'm getting excited, Scott. We might as well, if we're getting overrun with a defensive right back, we might as well play someone who can get forward and get balls into the box, take shots, and like I said the other day, there is no way Wan-Bissaka's playing that ball into Greenwood, and then Greenwood's playing the ball back to Fred, and Fred scoring that winner against Palace. Never going to happen when Wan-Bissaka's right back. He never plays that ball.
Yeah, I think you can probably say the same about Luke Shaw as well. I think Tellez, at the moment is playing better than him and is probably first choice left back.
Yeah, he's shown a bit of hunger as well, isn't he, Tellez? It's good to see.
Yeah.
Van der Beek was penalised, what looked like getting fouled to me on the 29th minute. Looked like Van der Beek got fouled and he got penalised. It wasn't the last time in the game as well. And we should have been 2 up after 31 minutes as well. Ahmad through, a cutback, Greenwood, from a Greenwood ball, and then Lingard was snoozing, wasn't he? The ball just, I mean, he just wasn't prepared for that. It was crazy because he was just behind the penalty spot, centre of the goal. And he did look like he was snoozing all day today, actually, Jesse Lingard. He was one of the most disappointing performances today, whether he's looking for a move or whether he's looking to get in the team. Either way, I don't know what he was doing today. He was just, seemed like he was just not there.
Yeah, he's definitely not looking to be in the team with a performance like that. It went
awful, wasn't it?
It went all the way till very late on. That just before he got subbed, it was just disinterested, wasn't it? And you're thinking, how many times we watched him play for, 10 years we watched him play for United, and that was the most uninterested I've ever seen him play. Usually he brings enthusiasm, he brings the United spirit with him usually.
With a new manager as well, first game, it's crazy, right?
You got to think that in Ollie's honeymoon period, he was a huge player in that, scoring at Arsenal and scoring a couple goals in the first game. I remember he was even on penalty duty. Huge player.
Dear me, yeah. And then Ollie fell out of love with him, and then what? Now you're saying he's an Ollie disciple again, or what?
I don't know.
I can't work it out either, mate. I don't either. But
he probably wanted to move in the summer, and now he's sulking, and he's going to he's obviously rejecting all the contracts that we're offering him, and he'll probably be gone in January.
I have to say, Scott, it's crazy management. The decision making at Old Trafford to not give Lingard that move in the summer. Some things in football you think, are we quite right here? Are we right in the timing here? And some things are just like a big flashing light. And selling Jesse Lingard in the summer was that big flashing light, wasn't it? He had done it at West Ham. We had seen what he's done under multiple managers. He's at the right age. His contract is potentially up in the summer, right? And you just say that is the golden moment. We're going to get the most money. He walks off. We give him a good old wave goodbye, one of ours, and he goes off into the sunset. And I can't believe we didn't take the opportunity. And then Ollie kept him, and then he brought him on a few times, and then that was it. It was just daft.
And even worse, he would talk about how great he was in the pre-matches and then not bring him on. How annoying is that? I tell you, the most frustrating part about it is that West Ham wanted him enough that we could have definitely used him as bait for Declan Rice.
There you go.
Yeah, we could have at least got 30, 40 million off that and got front of the queue.
Yeah, it was mental. Mm-hmm. But look, up the other end, Bailly had to do one of our absolute favourite sliding tackles. Last ditch, it was crazy. One sliding tackle into a spin and then up. It was outrageous.
On the opposite side, and he's playing right centre back, and on the left touch
using
line.
his right foot, wrong foot as well. Spin out of it, up. I'm surprised he didn't do a Chamon as he came up. It was unbelievable.
He's back.
He is back. He is back. He'll always be back Eric Bailly's back. He's front. He's everywhere. Unbelievable. Look, after that, young boys had their first mini spell, didn't they? Really, Van der Beek pulled out a little back heel in his own box, which he got away with. But Henderson beat away a shot that was straight down his throat as well. You've got to be a bit better with that. He could have just jumped into it and caught that. But it was their first mini spell, wasn't it? They peppered us a little bit, and you were reminded that they're actually playing for something here.
Yeah, and you have to remember as well that we had one central defender on the pitch, and that's Eric Bailly.
Yes.
So our defending was going to be a bit haphazard,
to say the least.
To have Nemanja Matic has great defensive instinct and intuition and what have you, but doesn't have the legs to cover Bailly. And yes, and also we didn't have any defensive midfielders. We've been playing. We've been playing for 3 years with 6 defenders on the pitch, and all of a sudden we've got 3.
One.
Yeah, and one of them's Wan-Bissaka, and the other was it's a huge change, isn't it?
It is, and just after that little spell, Greenwood marched around the back, didn't he, from the left this time? It reminded me, Scott, of I'm sure the younger guys, they play FIFA these days or whatever. But in the older computer games, there was a lot more avenues, weren't they, that you could get through, if you like. And when Mason Greenwood made this run round the back and then passed it back to Mata, that's an old school computer tactic, isn't it? The old round the backer. If they make a challenge, they're going to give a penalty away. If you're strong enough, you're fast enough. It was almost like a cheat code from Greenwood. But how did it stay out? It was unbelievable, wasn't it? It took a deflection and then off the keeper as well and looped over the bar. I still have to say, Matty, you've got to be finishing that. It was a tame finish. There's so many options you can do there.
He was knackered.
Yeah.
He was exhausted.
He's just run 25 yards.
He's just run, 25. He's just run 25 yards further than he's ran in the last 18 months. Yeah, he was exhausted. But again, that was another time that Jesse was right there. And if he's making a good run or look at being a bit more, I don't know, you don't want to pick a guy out because he didn't get the ball. But yeah, it was, we were getting closer and closer, but it wasn't wasn't going in. It was frustrating.
No. And then we had a penalty shout for a cheeky handball. VAR was checking it, and then up the other end, of course, young boy shot over. We still haven't had that situation, Scott, have we? That I was talking about when VAR was first coming in. The imaginary situation of when there's a VAR shout.
Yeah, we did, didn't we? I thought we had a goal. I thought Chelsea. It happened in the Chelsea game, didn't it?
But they what?
And there was a penalty.
The FA Cup final, was it?
Was it?
You know what, Scott? It was quite funny. The other day I saw, well, it wasn't funny actually. It was blooming annoying, but I saw a Liverpool goal in the Champions League final that I've never seen before. You know, because I think it was that Spurs game, right?
Yeah.
Origi.
Right.
I'm good with Belgian names, aren't I? You know that.
Brilliant. Yeah.
He scored apparently. I never even knew that.
I don't think I watched that Champions League game
because I basically saw the start. They scored, and then I just went on a total blackout. Didn't read the news, didn't look at any pictures, nothing. And the other day they were like, Klopp was going on about it. I was like, blooming hell, did he score? Oh, there you go. But yeah, so we haven't. I don't think we've seen a situation where a team scored and then it's been disallowed for a penalty. Have we?
I thought it might. I thought it might have, but I might be wrong. Yeah. I'm waiting for the time that a guy's going to get injured, or a guy, you know, it's going to come back and there's going to be some sort of vindictive challenge to.
Because they know it's offside.
Yeah,
right?
And it's going to be called back. So it's the same with these offsides, mate. It's going to take one. You know, if your boy Mohamed Salah goes through and pulls his quad muscle when he's offside because they haven't
leave it out, would you?
Because they haven't raised the flag 30 yards ago, that's got to change too.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We had a few warning signals, didn't we? There was a few opportunities that young boys had where we didn't close down quite quick enough, and we were a bit lackluster. And then Donny van der Beek was the man who gave it away. Straight to Reader, and Reader curler right into that far top corner. It was a delightful finish. And I'm not actually criticising Henderson when I say that De Gea might have saved it. But I think that some of those saves De Gea makes that we think are normal saves are not normal saves.
I don't think he's saving that.
Maybe not. But you know what I'm saying? He's a lot closer and he saved some outrageous stuff in that top corner. It wasn't right in the top corner. It was like, you know, a good couple of yards down. You know I'm harsh. But 1-1. And
so what you're saying is that he makes those almost 11 out of 10 saves, but it's the between the 7s and the 9s that he misses.
What, De Gea?
Yeah.
Well,
it's like he obviously doesn't let in most of the easy stuff, apart from yours, Lionel Messi. But then he does let in some sort of slightly above average, not great shots.
He didn't in his prime, did he? He didn't in his prime. He didn't let any of the nonsense in his prime. It was sensational stuff. It's just since this confidence thing, it's since the World Cup. We've discussed this before, haven't we?
World Cup was 4 years ago now, mate.
I know, mate. I know. People change.
How long was his peak?
People change, mate. People change. Well, I mean, 4 years ago, his peak was about
3
or 4 years?
All right.
3 or 4 years, I think. Yeah, something like that. But look, I'm not saying he would, but it wasn't impossible. It wasn't impossible. Let's put it that way. Anyway, 1-1. And on the stroke of half time, Bailly had to get in there with a cheeky little block as well, didn't he? So he was pretty much a one-man defence. In at 1-1 half time. And Scott, come on. I know you're being a bit harsh tonight on the performance, but it's a dead rubber. We're playing a total scratch side. We've got every single one of our first team that is our first team right now. Of course, there's previous first teams and the fullbacks in the squad, but everyone's at home. I mean, for me, 1-1 half time, I was all good.
Absolutely, me too. I'm not digging out the performances. You know, there are a couple of individual performances that I was disappointed with, but when I saw this, you know, a couple of days ago, I thought this is my kind of game. Like I love the squad. You know, let's get all the lads involved and what have you. And this was, you know, his lineup went way beyond my imagination of let's get some kids involved for a dead rubber. And so yeah, going in 1-1, and kind of even in the game. You know, we maybe hadn't had the best last 15 minutes going into the half, but I didn't think we were outplayed.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. It was all right. And don't forget, like, we lost to this team, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I mean, with our first team.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
they're no mugs. As always, point you towards our friends over at vintageunitedshirts.com. They supply old school, traditional, classic United shirts. They're all originals from the 90s, 2000s, some more recent ones as well, rare shirts. Whatever name and number, keep your eye out because, as I say, they're all originals. So they are all back from those days. So then they're not produced now. So you have to keep your eyes open. We got a promo code United100. You get 10% discount across the store. Of course, you're pushing it for Christmas now, but jump on there, have a look around. Got a cheeky little competition coming up as well. So keep your eyes peeled for that on our Instagram, their Instagram. Got a few prizes coming your way as well. So keep your eyes open. VintageUnitedShirts.com. And if you'd like to get involved with our membership program as well, become a member of the pod, get over to patreon.com/United100 and check out the different tiers there. We've had a few new members in the last few weeks as well. So keep them coming. They do help to support the pod. And look, Scott, second half started. We were almost leading again within a minute. It was a rapid start, wasn't it? 54 seconds, I think it took for us to get in on goal.
Yeah, Ralph, he wasn't even out the tunnel yet.
Unbelievable. Who do you think he is?
Unbelievable.
He's gone off him already.
I mean, just a great opportunity. You've got to think Alanga's got to do better there, one-on-one.
He does.
But yeah, you know how quickly we were in. And I mean, with that front four, the front four was so fast that we should be getting in that quickly in behind.
Yeah. And you know what, Scott? Tonight, it's a dead rubber for us. It's not a big deal. But when we're playing if you're going to play Mata and Van der Beek in midfield, you've got to take your chances. The whole point of playing that midfield is that you're going to get more chances. So therefore, you've got to take the chances because you're going to concede more chances as well. We got away with it tonight. On another day, we won't. So these guys have to wake up. Alanga, if you want to play that position, you've got to start banging those chances in. Simple as that. And I know he has in the past, but the past for United is not good enough. We only accept the present and the potential for the future. So he has to take those chances. Ahmad as well. You know, he didn't grab his chance the way I would have liked Ahmad to grab his chance tonight. He looked like, you talk about Lingard looking a bit disinterested. I wouldn't say Diallo looked disinterested, but a little bit low on energy maybe. And you've got to take those chances. You just simply got to.
He's going back from like 6 or 8 weeks out. He's only been back in training for a week and a half.
I know.
But you know what? At least he had good endeavour. He lost the ball a couple of times, but he was chasing it back. And you know what? I don't mind the kids making the mistakes if they try and make up for them. But it's just disappointment. You look at Jesse Lingard. You think here's the most senior player in that team. Maybe he had the hump because he wasn't captain. I don't know, but you know, but if he was made captain of that team, you wouldn't think it was completely out of the ordinary. And it was. I would single him out for being pretty disappointed. I think he was. Yeah, I thought he was disappointing tonight, TC.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong with Diallo. You know, I'm a massive believer, and actually, just part of my disappointment was not that he did anything too bad. It was just that, you know, when I talked about the players that might get a boost from Rangnick, I named a load of basically first team players and Diallo, who's the only one who's on the periphery, right? So, man, I'm on the same page as you. I'm a big believer. I just hope that he might set the world on fire tonight. That's all. I guess that's what I'm saying. But look,
I tell you, Ralph's gonna be really impressed with his pressing because he was pretty quick on the left back whenever they did have the ball, and he was tracking back 40, 50, 60 yards at times. And that's the kind of thing that Ralph wants to see.
And to be honest with you, Scott, I've seen him in the age group level, you know, under 23s. That today was him on a 5 or 6. You should see him on a 9 or 10.
Yeah.
He is different gravy. So it was an open start to the second half. Way more risks from us, but positive ones. And then it fizzled out a little bit, didn't it? We kind of, young boys weren't pushing us. We weren't pushing them. And there was sort of 10, 12 minute period where nothing really went on.
Yeah. It was kind of a friendly atmosphere when like the big amount of subs get.
Yes. Pre-season, wasn't it?
It felt like a bit of pre-season, yeah.
It did. And the ref was weird as well. It's like having one of those American refs. I know we've got loads of American listeners, but your refs they're a bit tasty. And the second time in the game, Ahmad got fouled and he got pulled up for it. So he got fouled, and earlier in the game, was it Van de Beek that got fouled and he got pulled up for it? It's mental stuff. Bizarre. Like on a normal day, I'd have been blooming spitting chips, but as it was, I was blooming loving it.
Spitting chips? I never heard that one.
That's an old classic, mate. Elanga again clean through on the 59th minute. Massive chance. It's those fine margins, Scott. It just clipped the keeper on the side. Could have gone in, could have not gone in. Unfortunately, it's a new era and you've got to take those chances. As I said before, if you're going to play in one of those front two positions, you've got to be banging in goals. And Elanga, he'll do all the extras and he will score the goals as well, as we saw end of last season at Wolves. But yeah, it's again, monster chance, and he really should have taken it.
Yeah, do you know about this yellow Jeep theory, TC?
I do not. I have no idea whatsoever about it.
You think, yeah, I've never seen a yellow Jeep, but then like tomorrow you'll see one, and you think, God, it's only because you're kind of looking for it, right? I can't tell you. The last couple of weeks, I've heard the words fine margins everywhere. People describing football or anything else, and I'm like, are people winding me up here? Because I couldn't think I'd ever heard it before. And now it's like everybody's saying it. Graham Lasseau must have said it 15 times the other day. And I'm like, he's just winding us all up here, talking about fine margins.
I must say, Scott, I thought listening on the UK commentary was pretty bad because that's where I normally listen to. But of course, at the weekend, there was no coverage, was there, in the UK? So you may or may not have helped me out, officially. But your American commentators are, oh, dear me. I think they're even blooming worse than the ones in the UK.
Oh, definitely worse. We've got,
mate,
it's either Graham Lasseau.
Haven't they?
Well, yeah, they don't really have any recourse because no one's going to, no one who could do anything is really watching the American.
Me.
But I mean, it's Lee Dixon and Graham Lasseau. And then, inside you got Robbie Earle and Robbie Mustoe. And I mean, it's difficult, pal. It really is.
Pretty bad, Scott.
And the guy who leads the band, he's definitely a closet scouser. So it just makes it so much worse because he loves it.
Yes, I mean, I've certainly been using fine margins a fair bit, just as a little joke, just to wind you up. But and the funny thing is that I've always thought, when I look at sport, I've always thought the best teams, the best players, they control those fine margins. That's what I've always thought, right? That's why it's been such a headache for me to listen to our manager saying it, because for me, that's what wins you trophies. That's what wins you Grand Slams. That's what wins you Test matches. Oh, by the way, Scott, I do have to pull you up on that.
No.
Oh, I have to, Scott. You've ruined my winter, Scott.
Oh,
you've absolutely ruined my winter.
No, come on.
Everyone, no.
Every podcast you say anything else to add, and this was going to be my something to add this time. Usually I've got nothing else.
Right, we'll leave it to the end. Look, we had Nemanja Matic on the 60th minute. Scott, he was. You remember Ronaldinho used to do that trick before the game, where he used to kick it as high as he possibly could up in the air, and then kick it back up in the air as high as he possibly.
Yeah.
Was that what Matic was trying?
I think so.
He must have been trying something.
I think so. Silly buggers, yeah. He was definitely doing that,
and he could have been severely punished as well. There, it was crackers, wasn't it?
But it wasn't the craziest defending I've seen all season.
No, it wasn't. Maybe not even today. Tedamengi came on for Luke Shaw after the 61st minute. Of course, Luke Shaw just back from injury, so I presume that was planned. And Tedamengi just slipped into that left back position, of course, which is not his usual position. Number 4 in his number, similar haircut. Is he your new Fosu Mensah, mate?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he played a similar game, didn't he? I thought it was very similar in the way, physically fantastic. And I remember Fosu Mensah putting in a decent enough shift at, I think it was at Palace, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Playing for United at left back. So,
yeah, you're right. It was that, the last few games of the season. It was a must-win game. And you're right.
He was 24, Mengi 43.
Yeah.
There you go. There was the triple sub from Young Boys. So they were obviously pushing for it on the 63rd. And Ahmad, bit of defending on the far post, which I enjoyed as well. Might have fouled him, but got away with it.
Yeah, I think it was a foul.
Think I fouled him, but I got away with it.
Yeah,
so
let's keep it quiet.
Good old Ahmad on the far post. And then there was pressure from young boys again 3 minutes later, ending with a golden chance. Bailly was covering, knobbed his knee on the post, didn't he? But he was certainly there, ready for that goal line clearance as usual.
Better than kneeing your knob on the post, though.
Absolutely, it is. We've all done it, haven't we? Accidentally, of course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Look, on the 67th, Heaton and Shuratire came on for Henderson and Ahmad. So, as you mentioned earlier, Scott, great to see Tom Heaton get onto the field. And Shuratire, again, fresh start with a new manager. He is one of those guys in the age group levels who has turned it on at times. So, and he's linked up with Ahmad at times superbly too. So, great to see him get more minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I enjoyed him in pre-season. Thought he was great, and last season he got a few outings, and I think he's one to watch. In fact, they were saying in the commentary today that if Jesse Lingard does want to get a move in January, because even the commentators could tell he was a bit off, that Shuratiri will be one that will favour from having a few more minutes in the team.
Even if you want to move, still put a shift in.
Yeah,
you don't need to sulk around the field, do you?
Unless you want to go to Newcastle, I guess, because they'll take anyone.
I mean, it was the first thing I said when the Newcastle. I think it's the most obvious transfer in history, isn't it? If that doesn't happen, I would
might
be
actually
shocked.
be able to get a few quid for him too.
Moisey, I don't need him anymore.
Yeah, I don't want him. I've got a new coffee machine.
It's me, not Jesse. I've got the magic. He doing all right, isn't he, your boy?
Yeah, he is.
Tearing up trees.
Oh, boy.
Smoking trees, doing the whole lot. Blooming unbelievable. Mengi did slip, didn't he, on the 72nd, but the recovery was superb. I mean, he was totally out of it there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But the recovery was sensational.
Superb, yeah. You kind of... Sometimes you see a player slip and get up and go in rash to make up for it and give away a foul, but he actually went in even more reserved, and it was a great tackle in the end.
It was. It was not a, like you say, it was not an emotional reaction to something that happened that's obviously massively embarrassing and potentially, I mean, he must have been shocked, but the recovery and the reaction was exactly what you want him to do, rather than a young player normally goes in rash there, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah. It was, given how well he did play, I was pretty surprised that maybe he didn't start the game at centre-back and Matic instead of Mata in the middle of the park. But I thought even to come in on at left-back, well, we never thought we'd see him play. He did pretty well.
I suppose if he had started Mengi at centre-back, then the magnifying glass would have been put on him, wouldn't it? You'd have said, where's the weak spot in the team? You know, he's the youngster. So I think it's intelligent management, isn't it? To bring him on, give him the minutes and grow that confidence, rather than chuck him in at the deep end and see if he sinks or swims. Because if he sinks, then you've got a job bringing him back to life again, haven't you?
Yeah, that's a good call.
Shuratiri was booked soft as muck, wasn't it? Dear me. I mean, God, is that a booking these days?
Well, I think that the referee reached his threshold, didn't he? It was like, okay, I guess anything after 70 minutes, I'm not going to book anyone. They can do whatever they want until 70 minutes. Anything after that, we're just going to start booking everyone.
You're so right. It was a poor second half there, wasn't it, really? It was scrappy. And then we had, I presume you're watching on the American feed, right, Scott?
I was, yeah.
Of course. So in the UK, the feed is on BT Sport, right? And the commentary is done there, and the co-commentator is Robbie Savage.
Yeah.
So we had a bit of fun, I must say, because of course Charlie Savage, Robbie Savage's son, has come through the youth system at United, and so we had he was nervy. Robbie Savage, he was so nervy, and it was actually really nice to watch. It was the highlight of the game for me.
I bet it was. I bet it was.
Unbelievable.
They did pan the camera over and they showed him commentating on the game just after his son came on. But what a moment for him, right?
It was unbelievable, Scott.
Even if you don't like Robbie Savage, it's got to tug at your heartstrings to watch a guy who was so close to playing for United, and now his son is playing for United. It's pretty amazing.
And it was such a drama, Scott, because we saw him getting prepared, and then Robbie Savage went quiet. He was trying to regather himself, and then the ball stayed out of play for about 5 minutes. Stayed in play for about 5 minutes. Didn't go out of play.
Well, there
And
were a couple of times it did go out, but they didn't
no,
bring him on.
no. So this is what I'm saying. So from the original part, right? So they were getting ready.
Yeah.
5 minutes, and then it went out of play. And then what happened is the original two people they were going to replace, two players they're going to replace, they changed one of them, I think. So they changed who they were going to come on for.
Okay.
So the sub was cancelled, and then it went back to again, them waiting on the sideline. And I was just thinking, oh dear me, if he doesn't come on now, Robbie, because you think about it, Scott, and I like Charlie Savage. I'll chat about it in a minute, but if he hadn't have got on today, it's possible that you'd never get on again.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this might be the just the perfect storm today. There is never going to be a dead rubber. There might never be another dead rubber game for like 2 or 3 years. Right. It's possible. No Champions League dead rubber. So where are you going to play someone? And if he doesn't grow, so Robbie was getting more and more nervous. It got cancelled. Tom Heaton had to be pretty sharp, dodgy pass back. And then it got to the 89th minute, Scott, until Zidane Iqbal, of course, another youngster who's come through, and Robbie Savage replaced Jesse Lingard and Juan Mata. And of course, Robbie Savage, he commentated him on. They handed it over to him and he commentated him on. And like you say, Scott, if you think about it, in terms of a fairy tale, Robbie Savage was in that class of 92, wasn't he?
He was,
played with Bex, played with all the boys. And he just missed out. And he went around. He had the Premier League career that most football fans would die for. But he will always have had that little bit of him that would have wanted to play for Manchester United, right?
Of course,
see your son come on and do that. I must say, little tear in my eye today, Scott.
Yeah, me too.
It was. It was outrageous.
And I think Robbie Savage is a bit of a plonker. I really do. I've always given him a bit of a pass because he won that FA Youth Cup back in 91 or 92. But it's funny, right? Because you see him in that old school Adidas United shirt, and nine people out of 10 must think, oh, we must have played for United back in the early 90s. But he obviously never made it to the first team. But yeah, it's a good moment. And also for you, TC, I know how much you wanted to see Zidane grace the field at Old Trafford, and he finally did.
Yeah, you know what? The funny thing with Robbie Savage is that he always had a little bit of bitterness when he played against us, because of course he wasn't the boy, was he? He didn't get in our team, so there was always that bite. But I must say, Charlie Savage, he's a bit of all right. We might have slid into each other's DMs a few times in the past. So Sea Dog in the first team, I'm bloody loving it. So congratulations to him, because he's a bloody nice guy, and I have followed him. And we have had a little chat in the past. So to see that go into the first team as well, yeah, a bloody brilliant moment.
Good luck to him, yeah. And I mean, come on, TC. It's not like you're making your debut in the Carabao Cup. It's the Champions League,
mate. Champions League, baby.
You're gonna get a shirt with some patches on it, and you're gonna frame that. And I mean, what a day for him.
And you're what? You're what? You're barely in your 20s. And he's not even 20, right? TC, and you're already betting your dad.
Made me feel so bloody old the other day. United flashed up. It was like 27 years ago today. David Beckham scored his first United goal. And I remember that game so well. And it just 27 years ago, I was like, bloody hell. But I mean, the reason I bring that up is because David Beckham started there, right? He had his first game in a Champions League game, and his first goal in a Champions League game, sorry. But yeah, chuffed to see. And that's what you want to see from these dead rubber games. You don't want to see, essentially the second, the B team of the first team squad just getting minutes. You'd prefer to give them a whole night off and let some of these kids play.
And just think about the first team ready and rested for Norwich at the weekend, Scott. So don't worry about that. We had a triple pitch invasion, rarity, in the pouring rain as well. And the stewards were struggling, weren't they, big time, to get their mitts on them. And then Heaton almost got Greenwood away, didn't he, on the 94th minute with a big old throw. Maybe should have kicked that. Maybe he would have got a little bit more distance. And I think Greenwood was pretty much unmarked, wasn't he? So if he had not kicked it too far to the keeper, he might have had him in there.
Yeah, it was a shame that.
It was
a shame, but
it was.
You take a step back in that. You look at that team that we ended up with. You got Heaton, you got Mengi, Wan-Bissaka's still pretty young.
Well, you got Savage and Iqbal there in
Iqbal,
the middle.
Savage, Elanga,
Yeah,
Greenwood, Diallo
yeah.
had come on, and I mean,
And we still get the
Shoretire,
draw.
and we still get the draw.
At the end, Scott, when they were attacking, I was just praying that we'd keep the 1-1
Yeah.
for the youngsters, just simply for not for me, not for United. We'll be all right for the youngsters. To give them that fill up. I didn't want them to concede the goal.
And also for Ralf, Ralf, I mean, he can play.
He's all
He
right.
can play 11 academy products and not lose a game in the Champions League when the other team is actually fighting for their life.
Yeah.
It must give him good confidence in these players to know that if he needs a bit of energy to come on central midfield with 10 minutes to go in a game against one of the lesser teams, that he might be able to bring Charlie Savage on. Who knows?
And you know what, Scott? I mean, Zidane and Savage there. They kept their position. They moved exactly where they need to move. They pressed when they need to press, stood off. But I will say physically, they looked like boys amongst men.
They did,
but
yeah.
I've seen it 1,000 times before. Beckham, when he first came to the side, it looked
Scholesy.
like boys against men. Fletcher, Scholesy. Yeah, exactly.
They thought Scholesy was a dwarf.
Keep the names coming, Scott, because they're endless. We have seen it. You look at them.
Everyone apart from John O'Shea. John O'Shea was massive. I don't know. But then he stopped growing at like 17. But he was that tall at 17.
Yeah, and Wazza as well, okay? But
I mean, you're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? You see youth prospects coming in, you think, blooming hell, there's not much to him.
Well, it's funny. You don't even need to go back that far. I watched a recap or the replay of Marcus Rashford's first game.
Dear me!
And immediately he looks 11 years old. and now you look. I mean, that's only 4 or 5 years ago, and now he's a full grown man. You think if Shoretire has the same sort of progression, he could be pretty tasty.
Yeah, and like we say, look, when they come into the side, they look. But if you got the discipline, and they did, they shadowed their men. They did the job. We got the point, and we had. It ended a bit weirdly, didn't it? Wan-Bissaka went down. How many times have I talked about that hill around Old Trafford?
Yeah,
I mean, how many times? And Wan-Bissaka's I think he's broken his wrist.
Do you think so?
I think so. I mean, it's his wrist that apparently is the problem. I mean, we know it's not a problem like long term. Of course, we've seen Eric Cantona, right? I mean, you just put a cast on and it gives you a bit of extra magic. But yeah, we've talked about that hill at the edge of Old Trafford, Scott. I mean, it's mental.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to get rid of it because it wouldn't be Old Trafford anymore. But it is crazy.
It's the bricks, though.
Yeah, I mean, put some padding down there, guys.
Yeah, it's the bricks that's mad because Everton has the same. I watched the Everton Arsenal game and they have a sort of similar runoff, but it doesn't go off to bricks, and bricks. So there's very
red bricks as well, as if to say danger, danger, danger. You're buggered.
This is going to hurt. Yeah,
yeah,
big time. Yeah.
So it looks like he's hurt his wrist, but as a footballer, I mean, if you've got anything about you can just patch that up and you're fine, right?
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Scott, you got a man of the match for me today?
Yeah, I'm going to have to say Eric Bailly, Tom, TC. Yeah, I love him, and I think he gives everything, and he's someone that, you look at the thing I'm complaining about Jesse Lingard, he had a bit of an attitude, maybe he hasn't been getting enough minutes, but now there's Eric Bailly, but he comes on, he gives everything, and I honestly think we look a lot more sturdy at the back when he plays, and I think Mason, for a bicycle kick, you're going to get him a little bottle.
Oh, so you've not given it the goal scorer today?
No, not the big one, but the little one.
Very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Any bags of Haribo? Seeing as there's a load of kids playing today.
Yeah, I do. Tom Heaton.
Okay.
Tom Heaton.
Okay. So you give it to the oldest kid.
Yeah, 16 years you've been waiting for your debut, and good luck to him. He must have thought when he had left, he'll never come back to United. His dream was over. And I mean, it might have been 25 minutes in a dead rubber game in the Champions League, but it's more than I'll ever get. Good luck to him.
Mad when you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine that. Imagine that mental journey. You go all around the houses and you end up in goal for United. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You say 16 years, yeah?
Yeah, 16 years, he said, from when he signed his contract.
So we're talking not 2004, 2005, right?
Yeah. So he was 19, now he's 35.
Wow.
Yeah, good. So good luck to him. I was
Never
chuffed
give
to see
up, eh?
that. Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant stuff, mate.
and also I'd like to give an honourable mention to Ralf Rangnick
Okay,
because
but he's giving the manager's man of the matches now.
well,
Unbelievable.
no, just an honourable mention because there's one thing to come in and say that that you believe in kids and this team's got a great academy and what have you, but to actually have faith in them enough to bring them on and I really like that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too, Scott. I would totally agree with that. He's in his first press conference. He said the philosophy, the DNA of Manchester United is to win as much as possible, and he was correct. He was spot on. Simplify it down, and he is correct. And look, everyone tries to give their definition of the United DNA, and most people talk about wingers, don't they? And Ralph plays in a system which is 4-2-2-2 most of the time, which is no wingers, but on the field, Scott, it looks like United, doesn't it?
It
So
does.
it's funny. We all twist ourselves in 1,000 different ways over these formation tactics and this, that, and the other, and what is the United way and what's not the United way. And it's funny the way he's come in, giving us a different spice, and it's what we suggested, wasn't it? That we need to enter a new era, but to still go back and treat our youth system the way he has, it shows a high level of intelligence, not just in terms of progressing the club, but of understanding the club as well.
Absolutely.
And that's what we want, right? We want someone who understands the club, but they're not bound by the club. They're not handcuffed by the limitations of the club. They understand it, but they still have the license for us to grow, for us to move to the future.
Yeah, well, it's Sir Matt Busby saying, isn't it? If you're good enough, you're old enough. I mean, that saying is vague enough to not say you have to be in the team. It's the United way.
Yeah.
If you're good enough, you're old enough. And tonight, some of these lads, they really, they did himself proud, and they'll be able to frame those debut shirts with a bit of pride. But unfortunately, I think some of them were left wanting. And I say some of them. I'm going to dig him out. I think Jesse Lingard was rubbish today. And for someone fighting for his life, I thought he should have been better. He's the only one I'm going to dig out.
I'd agree. I'd totally agree. Disinteresting. And when you're playing in one of those two number 10 positions, an important position, and he wasn't at the races at all. In terms of my man of the match, I'm going to go super biased. I'm going to give it to my old mate Charlie Savage.
All right.
I thought it was the moment of the match for me. It's absolutely fantastic. Even without having a little wee chat with him, the whole thing of his dad bringing him on. Yeah, I'm gonna go totally biased and give it to Charlie Savage. How are you feeling now, Scott? Again, ahead of the match against Norwich, of course. We've got Cristiano Ronaldo totally rested up. Everyone rested up. Cavani's back now. What do you think of potentially this 4-2-2-2 with Ronnie and Cavani up front?
I can't wait, TC. I don't care who he plays, but I'm excited for United days again. I don't dread them. I don't. I can't tell you the last time I watched the full 45-minute manager press conference, because before I'd have to turn it off halfway through because it was just insufferable. But now, in fact, I'll be honest, I was watching it last night when I was going to sleep, and I fell asleep and woke up to him to Ralph doing a response in German, and I was like, bloody hell, like that's the last thing I expected to, because the volume was quite loud and it sounded quite harsh, and I was like, bloody hell, Ralph, do me like that. But the excitement of United's back, isn't it? And
I would agree with that, Scott. I would say that even tonight, I knew that we weren't going to see the first team. I knew we might lose, we might draw, but I was so excited to see what would happen. I was excited for everyone to have a clean slate, everyone to have a fresh start, a fresh chance. That was certainly something I was looking forward to. I must say, mate, I thought it would have tickled you a little bit when those reports came out about Ralf Rangnick wanting the goals to be bigger.
Yeah.
A little bit of a variation. I mean, what have we done to deserve this, Scott? I mean, can we not just have a normal manager moving the goalpost, making the goals bigger? I mean, come on.
Yeah, we've gone from the frying pan to the fire, but maybe Ollie was onto something. right? It was the same thing about, don't wear your home shirts to the home games because we won't be able to tell the players from the fans.
I mean, it was something that Ralf Rangnick said a long time ago. By the way, he basically, I mean, there is some logic to it. He said that when the goal parameters, the diameters of the goal were just written down in the rules, everyone was shorter.
Yeah, but
he is correct. Humans were 10 centimeters shorter then.
Yeah, but that's 3 inches, right? That's not
added
massive.
To that, Scott, come on.
But the goal isn't going to be
spring wise. In terms
mate,
of it's way more goalkeepers that can spring so much more than they used to as well. So not only are they taller, they're also way more athletic. Come on, mate. You've watched these keepers from they are bobbins, mate.
But have you watched women's football? Because I feel like the goals are the same size in that, and there are some shots that the keepers just have no chance.
I honestly think, Scott, that actually in women's football they should make the goals smaller and the pitches smaller.
Yeah, I think if we're going to have the same proportions, if we're going to have, if we're going to have the same proportions, the goal's going to be enormous.
Remember when you were a kid and the guy decided you're going to play with a size
full
5
size
ball.
Goal?
No, a size 5 ball. Remember when you were a little kid and it's like half your size. It's like up to your knees.
Yeah,
it's like you're Messi.
Yeah, but I remember watching the Women's World Cup, and USA played Japan and won 11-0 because they just kept aiming for the roof of the net, and the keeper had no chance.
Well, our women, England won 20-0 the other day, didn't they?
20-0. Can you believe that?
3 hat tricks. Yeah. Alessia Rousseau banging one in.
Yeah, couldn't believe that.
Back in the day, you would have had to fight over that one ball. These days, you get a ball each.
Yeah, big time. And they've all got microchips in them. It's strange that, right?
You old bugger. Listen, mate, looking forward to the weekend. You're confident now, right?
About the football, yeah, I'm confident about the football. I've had to make quite a few changes in my fantasy team because I was plummeting quicker than Ollie's tricky Reds.
You bottom of the league now, mate?
I might bloody well be, yeah, TC.
Yeah, I've slipped down to 5th. I must admit it's totally my own fault. I've missed a couple of deadlines. Unforgivable management. So, of all the slagging off I've ever given, you can slag me off back because it has been atrocious management recently. I think I've got away with it. And I've made a couple of cheeky transfers this week that I think are going to set the world on fire. I'm going to climb that table again. But
well, I've transferred a few Spurs players. I'm going to have to take out pretty quick because I don't think they're going to be.
Did you get them in? Oh no,
I don't think.
Mate.
Well, I've used my wild card, haven't I? So I've got the rest of the week to. Well, of course I have. You see, I've got a different problem to you. I've got a great team. They're just all playing rubbish, and I was looking. I was looking who I can replace him with, and I sorted the column by form. I'm like, oh my God, it's Liverpool City. Can't have any of those. But I did sneak a Chelsea player in. I feel dirty.
Here we go. So this is the first step.
Yeah, but I'm never going to... That's as bad as it's going to be.
First step to the dark side, mate.
But I will... But we can share something else. As long as you've known me, TC, you have banned me from watching cricket because I am the worst luck in the entire world.
Hang about, Scott. I have not banned you. You banned yourself. You banned yourself, right? For everyone out there listening, I know we've got listeners all over the world. I know we got a load of Aussie listeners, so I'm sure you're bloody loving it. And we got Indian listeners who, they sit on the fence. But I'm pretty sure when it comes to the Ashes, they're supporting England. But to cut to the chase, Scott is, by his own definition, the curse on the English cricket team, right?
Yeah. The very first time that ESPN televised the Ashes over here, I was so happy, and we got whitewashed 5-0.
Yeah, so basically, Scott has always told me that if he watches England cricket, then they lose. That's what happens. That's what happens. Mm-hmm. And so he will not watch. I mean, we will play like Sri Lanka at Lords, and he will not watch it. No. So that we win. So this is what happens, right?
I waited 2 weeks to watch the World Cup final just to make sure that it was completely over.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is what Scott does, and it's his superstition. So last night I'm there. It's 11:30 at night. I'm watching the Ashes, and we go down to 11 for 3. And
No,
I'm thinking
no, no,
something's not
no.
right here.
I sent you a text. I sent you a
But I
voice
didn't get it,
message.
Scott.
I sent you a voice message, and it said, rubbish to you. I'm watching cricket. In other words, I don't care about these rules anymore. It's been 10 years since I've watched a Test match. I'm going to watch cricket. So here I am. I paid $10 for a premium subscription to Willow, and sat down. First ball of the Ashes. First ball of the Ashes bowled out. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. And so then you get a message at 6:02, 2 minutes after the first ball, just ruining my luck.
Yeah.
And I spent the rest of the night trying to get my money back from Willow. They wouldn't get it, wouldn't take it.
So I watched it until 11 for 3, and I thought, I'm not staying up all night for this. This is crazy stuff. So I knocked it off, and then in the morning I got Scott's messages and whatnot, and found out he was the one who's ruined my bloody Christmas, because I was looking forward to that, Scott. I was bloody looking forward to it, and you know why? Because it reminds me of those days back. What was it, in 2011, right? When we went to went to Australia, won the Ashes, I think 3-1.
No, I think it was 2007.
No, 10-11. Alistair Cook, Graham Swan, the Diaries.
Okay.
Remember?
Yeah.
And you know why I love it, Scott? It's because it's before 2012. Okay. So it was when the world was right. It was when everything was right in the world. So, but yeah, you bloody ruined Christmas. You bloody ruined the Ashes.
I tell you, Christmas cannot be ruined when you hear the beautiful song of the 12 Cantonars. Impossible. How good was that to hear today?
It was fantastic. Yeah. It was fantastic. Full well we've driven up to Old Trafford at Christmas. sometimes not. And and we have sung that song, and we know when someone starts that in the car, right? When someone starts with the Cantonar song, you're in for 15 minutes, don't you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't work with your wife though. I tried that on a road trip last Christmas, and I was the only one singing, TC.
I'm sure you were, mate. I'm sure you
were.
A beat. Anything else to add, pal?
No, I'm really excited about the Norwich game. We're excited. We got through this group. It didn't look good after we lost to Young Boys, but good reason to be positive now, TC.
Yeah. Things are looking up, aren't they, pal?
Yep.
It just seems like things are falling our way at the moment. Even like today, we could have lost that today. Instead, we drew. Might have deserved to lose it. Might have deserved to draw it. I mean, they had the lion's share of the chances, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
They really did. So, I mean...
One thing I would like to add, though, is a little mention for how well Michael Carrick handled everything. Yeah. He came in, got a few...
Okay, I haven't chatted to you since then, have I?
Yeah, got a few results, and then, he didn't overstay his welcome. And it kind of annoys me to think that we had the man in-house after Mourinho, right? We could have just given it to Carrick. He takes 10, 12 games, gets someone else in, and we didn't have to waste 3 years of our life.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough.
We've also we got to change some of these songs as well, because the constant Ollie. It's off-putting to Ralf, and we got to try and change the chapter and move on.
Yeah, mate. I tend to agree with you with this one. I know I'm very sensitive to all the different opinions from the United fans. I know different people love different people in different ways. I mean, I've had hour-long discussions as to who should get a statue at Old Trafford on the way to Old Trafford, and it's all people in the car. They're all United fans, and we're all talking nonsense. We're all talking about who should have a bloody statue outside Old Trafford, but we're still going toe to toe about it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that does. Well, it gets the heart going, doesn't it? Whatever it is about United. So yeah, it's tricky. It's difficult.
Yeah,
it really is. With Ollie, I think. Personally, I would say, I've said it on the pod, I would knock it on the head just for a few weeks at least. And just the main reason is really, just to usher Ralf in. I think Ralph's strong enough. Ralph's wise enough to understand. And the fact that Ollie was a player before does change the dynamic a little bit. If you were just singing for a manager, that'd be mental, wouldn't it? But the fact he was a player before, then of course it makes it different.
But yeah, I mean, it would have been crazy to still sing for Mourinho after he got sacked.
Yeah, mental.
right?
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah,
I
of
mean,
course.
this isn't that much different.
I would say it is, just in that Mourinho was trying to get sacked. Ollie was trying not to get sacked.
Well, I don't know, mate. The proof's
Right,
in the pudding.
let's knock this on the head. We've all had a good night. We've talked enough nonsense for the last hour. Hardly anything happened in the match. So I hope you all enjoyed it. Nothing else to add, Scott, right?
No, nothing.
Thanks for listening again, everyone. Look, the good times are coming back. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever you get your pods. If you want to leave a review, by all means, jump on there. Of course, we've had a spate of 5-star reviews recently. We weren't hinting when we were complaining about those 1-star reviews, but you guys have come out in force. I screenshot them, sent them all to Scott and Ben today, and they were loving it. It's so nice when we get that feedback. So it was lovely today, wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. So keep them coming. If you love the pod, literally takes you 1 minute. Stick a 5-star, give us your opinion, and it really does help the pod. So if you love it, jump on there, do that. If not, hit subscribe on Spotify. Of course, you can't leave reviews, so just hit subscribe on there. Social media wise, at United 100 Podcast on Instagram, at United 100 Pod on Twitter, and I'll always keep you updated on Instagram stories, especially. And I'll try and be more active on Twitter as well. I've tried not to go down that Twitter toilet, but we might have to in the next few weeks get our opinions out there while the match is going on. If you want to get involved with our membership program, get over to patreon.com/United100 and check out the different tiers there, different membership subscriptions, and get over to vintageunitedshirts.com. We've got a promo code United100. You get 10% discount across the store, and he's got a new drop coming, and we've got a cheeky competition coming up as well. So keep an eye out on our Instagram, and of course on the pod. I'll keep you updated with that. We'll be back after the Norwich game, won't we, Scott? It's me and you again.
We will indeed, yeah.
Double bubble, back to back.
Yeah. Can I quickly say something, TC?
Of course you can.
Gary Neville's trying to get the manager of the country sacked, but I thought he doesn't trying to get managers sacked.
Okay,
what's going on there?
I did reply actually from a personal account rather than the United podcast one. I quoted him actually. He said, what did he say? He said that you have to decide whether you want to call for another human being to be sacked. You know, I see myself. Did he really?
He responded to you?
No, I don't know if he did, but I replied to him.
I see.
I don't care if he responded to me. I quoted him because what he said a few weeks ago when
I will never call for another human being.
Ollie,
yep.
Right? Was that I am not the kind of person who calls for another human to be sacked. Right? I'm a decent human being.
Oh, he's calling Boris less than a human.
Well, you know,
read between the lines. I mean, I just thought it's mental. I mean, who has appointed him to save the world?
You know what, Scott? I don't mind someone having an opinion, but when you're paid to have an opinion and then you refuse to give it, it's mental. Like, and that whole thing of him doing it today for Boris, it just shows that he wasn't up for basically saying that Ollie wasn't up for the job, which is crazy. And now he says that Ralph's doing a good job. You know, things are looking better. It's like
can't get enough of Ralf. Yeah, can't get enough of Ralf. But yeah, it's like he's also sacked 2 Salford managers in the last 24 hours. So,
oh mate.
Anyway,
dear me.
Yeah, I will be back for Norwich this weekend. Yeah.
Who's the manager? Delia Smith, or
Delia Smith? Yeah, she's going to cook off a lovely bouillabaisse.
Get the ribs on.
Yeah, get the ribs up. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Well, thanks for joining me again, everyone, and thanks for joining me again, Scott.
Thank you, TC.
Of course. Always a pleasure. And take care. Cheerio, Reds.
Ta-ra.